The Bayou Classic is one of the largest HBCU classics in the country, and over the years it's gotten exceedingly larger. We want to make sure that we are hitting our target audience with some very important messaging, especially in light of some statistics that were just released relative to African Americans and seatbelt usage. And we believe that this would be a great weekend to hold a press event and to also do some other ancillary events to make sure that the messaging is there for why people need to wear their seatbelts, why not to drink and drive, why not to text and drive, and those things that could potentially help save some lives.
My message to the fans is thank you for being here. New Orleans is always happy to host Bayou Classic, the 43rd Bayou Classic. I understand both teams are doing very well, so we anticipate larger crowds than normal this year. Our police department is fully prepared, along with our partners with state police, to provide public safety, which is our highest priority. But the message is simple. We want you to enjoy New Orleans responsibly. We have a lot to offer. We have the greatest foods. We have a lot of places to go to be entertained. We want people to not be impaired and driving impaired. We don't want people distracted and driving. We don't want people sleepy and driving. What we want you to do actually is to minimize your driving, because you can actually walk most places in downtown New Orleans. So we would ask citizens to minimize their driving by walking. But the message is also clear. We're not going to tolerate violence. We don't want anyone, whether they're local or from away, bringing firearms and carrying them illegally in downtown New Orleans. And so we're going to have strict enforcement on that, but strict enforcement on those who are driving impaired. We're here to provide public safety and to make sure everyone here for the 43rd Bayou Classic has an enjoyable Bayou Classic holiday weekend, so that we can always, come back remembering that this was the greatest time of their life here in New Orleans.
Today we're focusing on the safety effects of traveling public at the Bayou Classic. We're expecting hundreds of thousands of people in town for the weekend, both for the Bayou Classic and the Saints game, and we're focusing on safety. We don't want the 3Ds, distracted driving, drunk driving, or drowsy driving. Every moment that we are on our roads, we need to make safety our priority.
I am Katara Williams. I am the new Executive Director of the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission, and I want to thank you all for joining us here this morning. I've enjoyed coming to New Orleans and participating in the Bayou Classic festivities for many, many years, starting from a young girl. But this is my first year in this new role. I am certainly thankful that Governor John Bel Edwards has given me this opportunity to make a difference in the lives of our citizens by spreading the message of highway safety through education and outreach. I'm humbled and I'm honored to be joined with these distinguished speakers and partners to carry out this very important work. This morning, I'd like to share some extremely important information that could potentially save your life or the life of a loved one. During this holiday season, we have so much to be grateful for. No one in this room, or anywhere else for that matter, should have to deal with the loss of life. The Highway Safety Research Group at LSU has just completed its study of Louisiana highway crashes for the year 2015. And their work has brought forth some very significant trends that I want to bring to your attention this morning. First, in 2015, 752 people were killed on Louisiana highways, which is an increase of 1.6% from the previous year. Nationally, there was a 7.2 increase in fatalities in 2015 as well. And this is the largest increase that we've seen in nearly 50 years. Louisiana's latest increase in fatalities is actually below the national average, which is a good thing. And we believe that this is likely attributed to the improvements in the economy, along with cheaper gas rates and more vehicle miles traveled. And if you examine the data trend for the last 10 years, Louisiana has done pretty well. We've made some pretty significant strides in reducing highway deaths, but we all know and can agree that one death is one death to many. It is most fitting today, as we kick off the 43rd annual Bayou Classic, that we reflect critically on what is happening on our roadways in our state, and specifically how it relates to African Americans. So let me bring this home for you. In 2015, 205 African American drivers and passengers were killed right here in Louisiana. That's an increase of 5% from the previous year. In terms of seatbelt usage, statistics show that 86% of people in Louisiana wear their seatbelts, which is not bad. But when you look at African Americans, specifically, that rate drops to 79%. 79%, making us more vulnerable to crashes and potential fatalities. There's only one way, one true way to reverse this trend. We must remember to use our seatbelts. We must remember to refrain from texting and driving. And most importantly, we have to be cognizant not to step behind the wheel if we've been drinking. These are very simple things that can be done, and the only true way to really bridge the gap. You are family. We are family. We take care of one another. It's what we do. So during this weekend, a celebration of two of the greatest historically Black colleges and universities, we want to go home celebrating a victory, no matter which team you're rooting for. But celebrating a victory, not mourning a death. We want to celebrate a victory. We do not want to mourn a death. So I ask you, family, celebrate responsibly this weekend. Remember these very striking and alarming statistics for African Americans. Remember that in the back of your mind as you get behind the wheel and as you think about this holiday season and as you move forth through the holidays. It is critically important, and it certainly could mean the difference between life and death. Thank you all so much, and I'm going to step back and let Dr. Sean Wilson have the podium.
Thanks, Dr. Williams. Good morning. I'm Sean Wilson, Secretary for the Department of Transportation and Development, and I'm excited to be here with you again for this very exciting weekend. My prime mission as Secretary for the Department is to ensure that the public infrastructure system that we have in the state of Louisiana is safe and functioning appropriately, not just for you, but for all of the international travelers who are coming through Louisiana, all of the national travelers who are moving goods and services through our corridors. This is an exciting time of year for us as Bayou Classic, being a native of New Orleans. I am a graduate, two-time graduate of Southern University, but I have my highway safety orange tie on today, not my school colors, so I'm excited to be here with you. I will tell you there was an alarming article that focused in on Louisiana's driving statistics, some of which Dr. Williams addressed. But Louisiana and Texas are leading states for some of the wrong things that I'd like to highlight. One is the number of fatalities per 100 million miles driven. The other is the failure to obey traffic signs or wear seatbelts. Drunk driving is an all-time high for Louisiana and Texas. Speeding and careless drivers. On each of those 5 lists, Louisiana and Texas are tied and are flip-flopping to be number 1, and that is not what we would ask you to do. I would like to encourage all of those visitors who are listening, whether you're traveling or you're coming to Louisiana or you're in your hotel room, don't be a 3D driver. That's a drunk driver, a distracted driver, or a drowsy driver, because those are the devastating effects that you see creating the statistics that Dr. Williams spoke about. So when we talk about don't drive under the influence, that's not just drugs and alcohol, that's your own medication. Those are things that you will do that have an effect on your body. We ask you to get rest. We know many of you are going to be spending late hours tonight and tomorrow night and perhaps the night after getting ready for the Saints game to prepare for an exciting time. But get some rest. Ask for the late checkout. Try not to leave to get back to your destination just coming in from the night before. We ask that you don't speed. We set speed limits based on what we know our roads are designed to handle. And in areas where you're congested, you can't speed. But here in New Orleans, there's something to be considerate of, and that is walkable communities. We have bicyclists, we have pedestrians, walking from hotels to the game, to the restaurants, and they're traveling particularly on roads that you will be driving on. So we would ask that you would please be cognizant of that. Most importantly, as the Secretary for Transportation, I'm excited about the construction opportunities that you may see. So whether you're seeing construction zones on the Crescent City Connection, or you're on the Huey P. Long doing some extra shopping for Black Friday or Saturday, or you're seeing some overlays and patching going on, that's progress for us. And it's important for you to adhere those signs and recognize that there are men and women who have children and family members that they want to get home to safely. So we ask that you abide by the construction zones and the speed zones that are set forth. As always, we appreciate your patience. We have new technology here in the city of New Orleans called ramp meters. So when you approach the ramp on the main Pontchartrain Expressway, there's a signal. It looks like a traffic signal. What will happen is it will tell you when it's time to merge, and that actually helps ease congestion and make a smoother transition for you to connect into the traffic moving in and out of the city of New Orleans. If the light goes dark, that means proceed with caution. But if it says stop, you stop for moments, and then you will proceed with a 3-second delay for the green, and then the red, and then the green again. It's something new. It happens all around the country, and we want to take advantage of the technology and the advancement in transportation here in Louisiana. And in closing, I'd like to just applaud you for being here. I'd like to applaud our governor, who's taking a bold step to invest in transportation infrastructure. You're going to see state line to state line cable barriers, which will prevent cross-median collisions, which will reduce in death when they occur. You see an all-time high of rumble strips. You see audible striping, everything to make you as a driver more alert and aware of your surroundings. And for those of us who are growing older, we've even changed all of our traffic signs with brighter ink and bigger font so that you can see where you're going. And last but not least, I see lots of cell phones out there. Use it in advance of your trip. Put on the audio device and listen to Waze and 511la.org. Let them tell you where to go. Don't try to look at your phone. Please don't be a distracted driver. Driving in from Lafayette this morning, I counted no less than 50 people in the car by themselves holding a phone up as they're driving, and that's a very dangerous thing to do. So it's my prayer that each of you make it home safely. I wish both of the teams great luck and hope that there are no injuries, and I would just say go Louisiana as opposed to Jags or Tigers. Thank you all and have a fantastic Bayou Classic weekend.
Good morning, and thank you. And on behalf of our Mayor, Ms. Landry, I want to just welcome everyone to the great city of New Orleans. It's always an honor and a privilege to stand side by side with our partners from the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission, of course now with the ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho. Thank you for being here for such an important initiative. It can't be said enough that public safety is our highest priority, and so you're going to hear it now, you're going to hear it some more. We want people to be safe, we want people to not be distracted, to not be impaired. New Orleans is one of the top 10 destination cities in the world. We are prepared, equipped to give you the greatest time of your life, especially this weekend, those that are local and those that are coming from near and far. And so New Orleans has so much to offer, but what we ask is that you enjoy New Orleans responsibly. Be responsible and try to make wise decisions. You're going to see a very enhanced police presence from the New Orleans Police Department in downtown New Orleans at the Dome, and of course everywhere in the city. But you're also going to see, as you will hear from our partners with the state police, you're going to see an enhanced state police presence in the city as well as on the Louisiana highways near the city. And so we're partnering to make sure that every visitor, that every citizen is safe, but we would only ask that you would, number one, not be distracted, not drive while you're impaired, and make sure that you wear your seatbelt. We're going to take strong enforcement action for those who make those violations, but we want to be able to help citizens and help our visitors enjoy their time here in New Orleans for the Great Bayou Classic. So once again, thank you for being here. Welcome to New Orleans, and we hope that you would have a great and safe 43rd Bayou Classic.
Good morning. I'm Trooper Brian Lee, Louisiana State Police. I'm the Public Information Officer. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. I'm going to echo Chief Harrison with public safety as our primary goal. And with that, we want to educate you as well as go out and provide enforcement. We have a wonderful partnership with NOPD, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that your state and the city is safe. You heard some alarming numbers from Dr. Williams regarding crash statistics. Here in State Police, we want you to know that we're doing everything that we can to reduce those traffic fatalities through education and enforcement. Last year, during the Thanksgiving Bayou Classic weekend, we investigated 10 fatal crashes. Besides those 10 fatal crashes, we had over 200 injury crashes. No injuries stemmed from minor injuries to serious injuries. And these crashes, there is good news. These things are preventable. They don't have to happen. And there are a few simple steps that you can take to make sure that you avoid being in one of these crashes. And that first step is being responsible. All right? Don't drink and drive. Don't drive impaired, like they said. That's through alcohol, medication, illegal narcotics. Impaired driving directly correlates with lack of seatbelt use and aggressive driving. Make sure you're buckling up. Just by buckling up alone, you reduce your chances of being injured by over 50% in a crash, and reduce your chances of death in a crash by 50% as well. Avoid those distractions while you're on the phone. Again, take the time to set those destinations in before you leave, to make those phone calls, make those texts before you get on the road. Once you're behind the wheel, you need to focus on the task at hand. And we just want to remind everyone to be safe. We have additional troopers out. This Thanksgiving Bayou Classic weekend correlates with the national Click It or Ticket campaign, so we have additional troopers out that are looking for those drivers that are operating a vehicle without seatbelts, as well as those that have their children that are not properly restrained as well. In addition to that, there are troopers that are looking for those aggressive drivers and those impaired drivers. So if you're out and you see something that doesn't appear safe, you can contact us at Star LSP. That's going to connect you to your nearest troop area. We just want to tell everyone to have a safe, happy Bayou Classic Thanksgiving weekend.
Good morning, I'm Sheriff Marlon Gussman. Also wanted to welcome all of the Grambling State University and Southern University fans to the 42nd Annual Bayou Classic. Give a shout out to Sigma Gamma Rho. Thank you all for being here. And echoing what Secretary Wilson said, Dr. Williams, Superintendent Harrison, and the trooper, look, they said it all. Don't drive drunk or impaired. Don't be drowsy, and don't be distracted. I'm going to get to the bottom line. If you do, they'll bring you to me. And all of a sudden, that great Bayou Classic weekend is going to turn bad. So you don't want to come, you don't want to have the superintendent or the troopers bring you to the sheriff's office. It won't be good. So look, this is a great classic weekend. We have two wonderful schools competing. We have a great game this year, great Battle of the Bands later on tonight, and a lot of fun things happening all throughout this weekend. Let's keep it fun, let's keep it enjoyable, and be responsible. So thank you all very much. And I tried to be a little neutral today. I had a blue shirt, and then I had a black shirt, and I said, let me just go gray. So thanks a lot, everybody. Go.
I'm Superintendent McConnell with the New Orleans Fire Department. Once again, thank you for inviting us and having us participate with you. I want to thank the Bayou Classic for making New Orleans home to both Southern and Grambling State. It's great to be invited to be a part of the safety message, because I want to tell you that our part in that as part of the first responder team is when those accidents go really, really bad. I would tell you you'd be lucky to be brought to the sheriff's domain on Broad and Tulane. When we arrive, we're usually there to cut you out the car. And if you're lucky, you're going to the hospital and not somewhere else. I cannot describe how heart-rendering it is to see the results of traffic accidents of individuals who thoughtlessly get behind the wheel of a car after drinking, and nowadays, to a larger extent, the texting and emailing. what we now understand to be distracted driving. These results are never good. The lives lost, the lives destroyed, and so often by young adults who haven't quite got it yet, how risky it is to do this stuff while they're driving, and the potential for such catastrophic events. Too gruesome to describe, but I can tell you the results are never good. Last year in Louisiana on Thanksgiving weekend alone, 10 fatalities, 200 injuries related to vehicle accidents. Remember, the law requires all occupants of vehicles to be wearing their seatbelts and to be properly restrained. The last firefighter that we lost in the line of duty was not wearing their seatbelt. A tragedy that is so easily avoided. Estimates that seatbelts save over 14,000 lives each year. We're asking that everyone, particularly the young adults who come to the game and come to enjoy themselves, that they're here and get to enjoy themselves. You reduce your risk of being in a fatality and an accident. When you do have an accident and injury, you reduce that risk of fatality and injury by 50% simply by wearing a proper seatbelt. So make sure that we as first responders are not busy this weekend, please, and we get to enjoy the game. Adhere to the safety rules that everyone has reiterated here already. Buckle up, follow the speed limit, don't drink and drive, and please don't drive distracted, texting or emails or your GPS device. Once again, thank you, and go teams. Corporal Phillison from Southern University Police.
Good morning. I'm Officer Phillison, Southern University Police Department. I'm here on behalf of Chief Joycelyn Johnson, who could not be here this morning. She would like to send her greetings, especially to her sorors of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Everyone knows that the fall semester brings new beginnings, and of course, football season, which brings us here today. Well, at Southern, our second biggest game was on October 15th against Jackson State. And on October 15th, there was a terrible crash on Harding Boulevard, which is the main entrance to Southern University. Speed was a very important factor in that, which led to 4 individuals being ejected from a vehicle. 2 of those happened to be Southern University students. Their injuries ranged from cuts to as much as a broken jaw. So it was at that time that Chief Johnson decided that we would start our seatbelt campaign within 2 days of that event. So the Southern University Police Department increased our seatbelt enforcement. We used our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, as well as our Jack Safe app that we have to encourage our faculty, students, and staff to buckle up. And we will continue this weekend to send out those notifications via Facebook and the other social media platforms. We just want everyone to be safe and go Jags.
Good morning. My name is Howard Cavanis. I'm the Chief of Police at the Grambling State University. And this is my 3rd year here at the Bayou Classic, and I love it very, very much. And I really do look forward to seeing you ladies from Southern, because you're always here, you show up in force, and that's really good. Not knocking my GSU fans, I'm just saying. I've been in law enforcement for almost 30 years. Although I'm 37 years old, I've only been here for 30 years. I've seen a lot of fatality accidents, a lot of rollovers, a lot of crashes that were very unavoidable. People driving with their knees, one of them putting makeup on, the other one talking on a cell phone, that type of deal. So it's hard to bring out anything further than the gentleman I've already brought out. So please be safe and drive courtesy. And one other thing, when you see an officer on the side of the road with his lights on, please yield over into the other lane. A lot of times officers are clipped by, I guess people get focused on the lights and they get distracted and they strike the officer or strike the car. I'm sure you've seen this on TV and different, we had an officer taken from us this year in Sterlington, Louisiana. He was clipped by a drunk driver actually, and it killed him. So enjoy the game. My prediction is we're going to have a winner tomorrow. And thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Bobby Washington, Lieutenant from Grambling City Police. we're glad to be here to be a part of this 2016 event. We too want to encourage everyone, not only Grambling students, all students and fans, to be safe, no drinking and driving, use your seat belts, and pay attention to all the roadways, thoroughfares. We know when you use alcohol with a high rate of fans and walking, everything's gonna be hectic. So we ask everyone to be safe. Go Tigers.
Good morning. I'm LaShonda Johnson. I am the Regional Director of the Southwestern Region of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Thank you. This year marks the 16th year Mu Sigma chapter of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated has partnered with the Louisiana Safety Highway Commission here at the Bayou Classic, stressing the importance of driver safety as well as buckling up before and while driving. In 2000, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority received a grant from the National Highway and Safety Department to advocate as well as educate African Americans to increase the use of safety belts as well as restraints. Mu Sigma chapter, as well as many of the chapters across the nation, have held programs, mini clinics, educational workshops as well, in partnering with police officers to demonstrate the correct way of how to buckle up their children, talk about distracted driving, and giving safety tips to the local community. As Dr. Williams mentioned, there's much advocacy work still to be done. It's an astounding rate that African Americans don't wear their seatbelts here in Louisiana. She said 79%. There's much work to be done. This partnership, quite honestly, is of great importance to Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority as well as the region here. We had a member in March. We saw her on March 19th at our regional conference. 7 days later, she was in a car accident. She was coming back from Easter break. She and her boyfriend were coming back on the main street or the main drag into the university in Arkansas. A cop, I'm sorry, not a cop, but a truck driver actually ran into their vehicle. The driver didn't stop at the stoplight. Her boyfriend was driving. He had a seatbelt on. We're not sure that she did because she was ejected. She was in a medically induced coma for several weeks. She had brain swelling, and it's taken several months for her to get back on her feet. It's now November. She's not in school, obviously. She was a senior. She had just a month to graduate from college. She was a business major. She was also a dancer, vibrant young woman. So she's had to relearn to speak, to walk, to talk, and just do the normal functions that we all take for granted. So, in saying that, seat belts definitely prevent scarring. They keep you to have control of your vehicles, and they simply save tens and thousands of lives each year. So in closing, I personally want to thank Mr. Perry, Dr. Williams, and all of the esteemed individuals standing here today. So thank you for your tireless efforts in partnering with Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority over the last 16 years to ensure that information is distributed around seatbelt safety, distracted driving here at the Bayou Classic, where you have an infinite amount of people, an event that brings over 200,000 people to the city of New Orleans each year. So thank you for helping us and allowing us to partner with you to educate African Americans on the importance of safety and to buckle up on every trip, every time. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Zaina Harris, the Student Government Association President at Southern University Agricultural and Mechanical College. The Southern University Student Government Association wholeheartedly supports highway safety for all students. It was very important to advocate to our students throughout the course of this semester to stay safe and buckled up on the roads. This past week, during the Bayou Classic Pep Rally, in conjunction with the Southern University Police Department, students were able to view a crash car model, as well as use drunk driving simulation goggles. We will continue our efforts in safe and healthy driving by implementing speed limits, speed bumps, and crosswalks on campus starting next semester. It is our main priority to bring home safe Jaguars to their families every semester, and we hope that all Jaguars and Tigers remain safe during this Bayou Classic. Thank you, and go Jags.
Good morning. I bring you greetings from Grambling State University. I am Michael Meadows, student body president. Thank you, Ms. Harris. This past week, our campus police and Student Government Association posts on our main street a mock car crash showing students drinking and driving and not wearing seatbelts could lead to deaths at times. So Grambling State University student body strongly support the enforcement of highway safety. So thank you guys so much for the invite, and go Tigers.
Good morning. My name is Valerie Cox. I'm with Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Program Director. Right now, our message is the same as our Crown partners. We're asking everyone to be safe this weekend. We're asking if you're 21, first of all, and you plan to drink, please have a plan in place before you take that first drink, because we all know after you have started to consuming alcohol, you're not in your right mind. So have that designated driver in place. Or in the city of New Orleans, we have too many Uber and taxis, so have that plan in place before you take that first drink. And also, we're here to prevent underage drinking this weekend. We're not against you having a good time. We're not against drinking. We just want you to have a designated plan in place, because we all know that these are deaths and injuries that are caused that are 100% preventable. So we're asking you to please think. And right now, I have a victim here with me that's going to tell you why thinking and having a designated plan is so important. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? My name is Leo Perriman. This person is my brother David, who I guess we all miss still 3 years later. And that's tough. Yeah, thank you. That's tough because just like everybody else in here, we all love someone or someones. And in all honesty, I was going to, ask, just like all people do, I was going to ask for the implausible, the impossible, and the improbable. What I wanted after he died, I wanted, I guess, recognition. But I wanted it to be huge, prodigious, universal, if possible. So I wanted something crazy. I wanted time to stop, just long enough for the questions to start, so that at that moment I could say, you know what, time stopped because David died. But to be honest with you, in that instance, I would be wrong, only because the greatest part of his life was that he lived. For every kindness that he graced this world, it mattered to the recipient. Every smile, every hug, every kiss, and every word. The worst part of his death was the love lost. His memories live on because he has a sister here, a brother in me, a mother, another brother. But to know that his kindnesses disappear and cease to be, that is cruel. And that is the most difficult to accept. For all of people's faults, we count on their kindnesses as much as we accept their shortcomings. Not an aggrandizement of the singularity of the act, but is an enrichment of the pluralization. Because kindness, at its very nature, involves more than one person. It is a love multiplier. And to think or to have to accept that every time someone dies, we get to multiply love a little less. That is the tragedy of that. And that is what I miss. That is my impact. And for anyone who has lost someone, especially to drunk driving, that is the tragedy. And I thank you all this morning for your time and consideration for listening. Thank you so much.
And I'm sorry, to add to that, I want you to know that MAD is starting our Taiwan On campaign, and that is to have drivers to put this decal in their windows so that they can be reminded to have a designated plan in place. We have ribbons, we're gonna be giving them out tomorrow also, so if anybody want one, I'm here, my co-worker Sheba's here, just see one of us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Telly Medina. I work with the project team and lobbyists for NOKI, who is the group of folks who put on the Bayou Classic. On a lighter note, we're saying that my friends in the taxi cab company who own Uber and Lyft would like to make as much money as humanly possible on you this weekend. I took an Uber over here. I'm lying, I got my friend to drop me off. But so when you are here, please, everything is a walkable place. If you're having a drink, you shouldn't be walking out in public with that drink, Chief, like I will later. But you should walk as many places as humanly possible and move around the city. Once you're done doing as much drinking, I don't know if you're gonna do that or not, and eating as possible, then get you some rest and then get on the road to go home on tomorrow, or the day after if you stand for the Saints game. So, as a part of the team who's putting it on, we get every single phone call that happens from the chief when something happens when you're in town. And the thing that makes you worse, there are random occurrences of things that may happen in the city, but please don't drink and drive. If you're tired, get some rest. Send the text message when you get wherever you're going. That person ain't talking about nothing important anyway. So get some rest, and as the lobbyist for Bayou Classic, I want everybody to win. I hope both teams win on tomorrow. And since that's probably not gonna happen, we will see you next session when we ask for more money.
And finally, my name is Luther Perry. I have been working with promoting this event for now 16 years. When I was the Regional Outreach Director for the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, and we are the ones who were the funding agents for the states. I want to thank Dr. Katera Williams for being so graceful in terms of saying this is the first time we've had the Highway Safety Director here speaking in some time, and so I told her I want to do everything in my power to make sure that she's successful in reducing the numbers of African Americans. In fact, all fatalities, one life is too many. It doesn't make any difference. It's not, we want to promote it, not ethnicity specific, but we have a high concentration of deaths that percentage-wise are larger than other folks. And so we have a focus on African Americans. I want to take this time to thank all of our partners here who have, a number of them have been with us for the entire 16 years. Tomorrow we will be promoting and distributing traffic safety messages in the Champion Square. Come by the booth and grab some information to make sure that you share with your loved ones. Dr. Katera Williams and all of the partners, thank you so much, and we hope to continue this effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Of course, we can't do the work that we do without all of those that are behind us. So please, would you help me give them a round of applause, thanking them for the work that they do. And before we close it out, I just want to call up Zaina and Michael to the podium, please. Come on. These two individuals are very, very special to me. I worked with them on the Council of Student Body Presidents, and one thing that they, along with 31 other college leaders across the state, are doing is they have championed themselves as highway safety ambassadors. Give them a round of applause. What that means is all of the things that we are saying today, in terms of making sure that we are reminding over and over again. They are helping us to reach our target population and demographic. These are the people who we need to be talking to, because these are the people that we will be responsible for our future. So again, I want to thank you all for the work that you do. I'm looking forward to working with you all, as is all of the partners that are here today. And we have a Southern rep and a Grambling rep. And so, regardless of who you are cheering for, this young lady and this young man, again, they are great representation of what our HBCUs produce. And again, thank you all so much. And thank you all for being here today. Remember, help us carry the message out as we enjoy this weekend. And go Jags! Thank you. We want to make sure that we are targeting them to make sure that they are, doing the right things, saving lives, and just making sure that there are some things in place to make some behavioral changes, so that we can get more people wearing their seatbelts, which of course will move towards the people saving lives.
Throughout the year, we've seen a slight increase over the last 12 months of vehicle safety and accidents and deaths resulting as a result of vehicular collisions and not wearing their seatbelts. Among African Americans, that percentage is extremely high, and it's not representative of the population. And so we want to focus on reducing those numbers of fatalities. And the more seatbelts you wear, the less drink driving you do, the more focused you're on the road, you drive those numbers down. From the state's perspective, we can build cable barriers, we can do rumble strips, we can put up new signs. We can only do so much. The rest of it is going to be up to the driver and the folks in that vehicle to ensure that they're being safe and that they're getting home in one piece to continue their lives.
Most of the fatalities across the country have been unrestrained fatalities. That means people that are not wearing seatbelts are more susceptible to being in a fatal crash. We know that seatbelts are proven to save lives, and we believe that because of the percentage of African Americans that are not using their seatbelt, we believe that if we can get the educational programming and advocacy programming to those demographics and in those communities, we think that we can increase that percentage. But obviously there is a correlation between seatbelt use and saving lives.
Unfortunately, I'm seeing more and more people take advantage of technology and using their cell phones in very appropriate and in some cases inappropriate ways. The Waze app, the 511 LA partnership that we have with Waze is an excellent tool to help advise of congestion in traffic. Unfortunately, enough drivers aren't using the audio component of that and are looking at their phones while they're driving. And that's going to be what's concerning me the most, is the distracted driving is growing because folks are more comfortable, they're much more attached to their cell phones, they feel like they have to have them every waking moment, everything from social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. Those aren't things you want to do if you're driving a vehicle. In fact, it's not something you want to do if you're a passenger with a driver talking about that, because they're going to be more focused on what's on that social media.
Educational events, community events, one of the things that I talked about during the press conference is we're working with the student body presidents across the state. They are our new highway safety ambassadors, and the premise behind that is because they're our target demographic. They're our future. We want to make sure that we're getting the messaging to them so that they then can take it and help us spread that word on their campuses. But making sure that we have education and awareness in place for targeted demographics, grassroots communities, so that we're changing behaviors. And as behaviors start to change, we'll begin to really save lives.